What if, in a single moment, you could feel every prayer ever spoken for you, each one like a wave of love surrounding you, filling you with peace and connection? In today's story, we'll follow John on an extraordinary journey beyond life as he knew it, where he encountered a presence that would forever transform his soul. A heart attack nearly ended John's life, but what he found on the other side gave him new purpose, peace, and a connection to something far greater. On the morning of June 24th, 2024, John arrived at work just as he did every other day. He worked in a kitchen, handling various tasks like making butters, salad dressings, soups, and desserts. Everything needed for the day ahead. Although he hadn't been feeling well, he brushed it off as fatigue, figuring a cup of coffee would set him straight.
I thought I was just tired, maybe pushing myself a little too hard. I went to start brewing some coffee, but as I was setting up my prep area, I felt an intense heat spread through my body. I started sweating like crazy, and then came this sharp, burning pain in my chest.
To cool down, John stepped into the walk-in freezer, but the feeling only worsened. Suddenly, he found himself struggling to breathe, each moment bringing sharper pain and greater urgency.
At first, I thought it might just be a really bad panic attack, but then the coughing started. It felt like something was stabbing me right in the chest. That's when I knew this was serious. So I went straight to my manager and managed to say, "Call 911. I'm having a heart attack."
In just a few minutes, paramedics arrived and quickly began to assess John's condition. He was lucky. The kitchen he worked at was close to the hospital. As they loaded him onto the stretcher, John asked one of the paramedics, "Am I going to die?" The paramedic reassured him, saying, "We don't allow that on this truck." But a deep sense of surrender began to settle over John. He braced himself for whatever lay ahead. What John didn't know was that his journey was just beginning. As he was rushed into the hospital, he would soon experience something that would change his life forever. By the time John reached the hospital, his world had become a blur of sounds and faces. Doctors and nurses surrounded him, moving swiftly as they prepared him for the operating room. In those frantic moments, John felt the weight of his own body slipping away, the pain in his chest dulling as he drifted somewhere between life and death.
I remember taking the phone from a nurse to call my wife, telling her I was in the hospital. I could feel my body growing weaker, the pain in my chest almost unbearable. At some point, I stopped fighting it. I felt myself thrashing, struggling to breathe. And then everything went quiet.
As John's body lay on the operating table, he began to feel himself separating from it, as if his consciousness was gently lifting up and away. In one instant, he was present in the room, aware of the people working around him, and in the next, he found himself hovering above, looking down at his own body.
One moment, I was in pain, surrounded by doctors and machines, and the next I was floating above it all. I looked down and thought, oh, I'm dead now. Well, time to move on from here. But instead of fear, there was only peace, as if I was exactly where I was supposed to be.
John didn't see a tunnel or a light beckoning him forward. Instead, he felt himself transported to a place beyond any human comprehension. A place filled with light, yet with a sense of solidity and reality that he couldn't fully explain. It was as though he was somewhere between worlds, each moment bringing him closer to an experience that would alter his life forever.
I was suddenly in a forest, but it was nothing like any forest I had seen before. It was as if everything around me, the trees, the ground, the light, was alive, radiating peace and love. I didn't have a physical form, but somehow I could feel everything, almost like I was a part of it all.
In this place of pure peace, John was not alone. As he took in his surroundings, he noticed a figure, a fox, waiting for him, ready to guide him on a journey he would never forget. John found himself in the presence of a fox, a guide waiting to lead him deeper into this peaceful, otherworldly realm. The forest around him glowed with a light he couldn't fully describe, a brightness that was both radiant and gentle, wrapping him in a sense of belonging and calm.
The fox led me through the forest, and as I followed, I realized that time didn't exist here the way it does on Earth. It was like everything, past, present, and future, was all happening in one endless moment. I remember thinking, so time isn't what I thought it was. How amazing.
The deeper he journeyed, the more he felt as though every part of this realm was alive, connected in a way that defied earthly understanding. Everything, from the trees to the light, seemed to have a purpose, vibrating with a love and peace beyond words.
I felt as though the forest was designed just for me, like it knew me, welcomed me. I didn't have a physical body, but I could sense everything around me, almost like I was part of the light itself.
Eventually, John and his guide reached a door, and he knew, without words, that he was meant to enter. Crossing the threshold, he found himself in what felt like an office, an unexpected but comforting setting. In front of him was a presence so powerful, so loving, that he could only describe it as God.
Even though it looked like a regular office with a desk and chairs, the love and peace in that room were overwhelming. I didn't feel like I was in trouble or judged. I felt like I was finally home. I didn't have a body to sit with, but somehow I was there, seated, feeling completely safe.
As he sat before this presence, questions flooded his mind, yet only one surfaced that he couldn't ignore. What do prayers feel like? The answer came in an instant, not through words, but as a profound experience that washed over him.
It was like a massive jolt of love, a wave so intense I felt it in every part of my being. In that moment, I could feel every prayer anyone had ever said for me, the hopes and fears, the love and concern. It felt like an eternity compressed into a single second, and it was the most beautiful thing I had ever experienced. I realized then that I'd never truly been alone.
In that timeless space, John felt a deep connection, realizing that every part of life was woven together by love and purpose. He was shown a map of his life, each choice and event linking together, leading him to this very moment.
My guide showed me my life laid out before me, every choice and every path that brought me here. I could see how even the painful moments had meaning, how they all fit into a larger purpose. It was like everything made sense.
As he processed these profound revelations, John's desire to remain in this realm grew stronger. But then, he felt a gentle but unmistakable push, a message that he wasn't meant to stay.
The presence, who I knew was God, told me, "You have more to do." I didn't want to leave. I felt so complete, like I finally understood everything. But at the same time, I knew it wasn't my time to stay. I had a purpose waiting for me back in the world.
Though he felt torn, John accepted that he was meant to return. He felt his guide, the fox, by his side one last time as he prepared to leave this place of love and light, filled with a deep sense of purpose.
As I turned to leave, I felt a part of this place stay with me. I knew I would carry the love, peace, and understanding of this experience back with me. It was as if a part of me would always belong here.
And in an instant, John felt himself falling, leaving the divine realm and returning to his earthly body. When John opened his eyes, he was back in the hospital room, surrounded by doctors, nurses, and machines. The bright, sterile lights and the sounds of medical equipment felt jarring after the deep peace of the place he had just left. Yet, even amid the noise and confusion, a profound calm lingered within him.
At first, I felt disoriented, struggling to make sense of where I was. It took me a moment to remember the hospital, the heart attack, but what I just experienced felt even more real than this. As I looked around, I felt a warmth in my heart, almost like I had brought back a piece of that love with me. I motioned for something to write with, and the first thing I managed to scribble was wife. I needed to know she was okay, that she knew I was alive.
John's wife arrived soon after, finding him awake with tears of relief in her eyes. Even though his body was weak and recovering, John felt a renewed strength within him, a sense of purpose and gratitude that flowed from his soul. He knew he had been given a rare gift, a glimpse beyond this world, and a chance to carry its message back.
As I looked at my wife, I felt a love so much deeper than before. I wanted to tell her everything about God, about the peace I had found, but for the moment I simply held her hand, knowing that this love was more powerful than any words.
With time, John would begin sharing his experience with others, recognizing that what he had seen and felt was not just for him. It was a message of hope and connection meant for everyone.
Since that day, everything looks different to me. The things I used to worry about don't seem as important anymore. I know now that life isn't just about what we achieve or the struggles we go through. It's about love, about connection, and about lifting each other up. I've learned that even our hardest experiences have a purpose, shaping us and teaching us how to be better, how to love more deeply.
John's journey brought him a new understanding of life, one that went beyond the limits of the physical world. He understood that every choice, every action, and every person he encountered was connected, woven together in a divine tapestry. For him, life was no longer a series of random events, but a path filled with purpose and guided by love.
I came back knowing that I was never alone, that none of us are. Every prayer, every kind thought, every small act of love, those are the things that last. We're all connected, even when we don't realize it. And that connection is what makes life beautiful. It's what makes it worth living. And I've learned that love isn't just something we feel, it's something we do. Whether it's helping someone in need, offering a kind word, or simply being present for those around us, these are the moments that define us. They ripple outward, touching lives in ways we may never see, but they matter. They matter more than we know.
As John's story shows, there is more to this life than what we see, a greater love that surrounds us, even when we're unaware. In the Bible, Jesus promises us in John 14:2, "In my Father's house are many rooms. I am going there to prepare a place for you." John's experience offers a glimpse of this promise, a reminder that God's love awaits us, that we are cared for beyond what we can imagine. For Christians, John's story serves as a call to live with love and faith, to see each moment as part of God's larger plan. We're reminded that every prayer, every act of kindness, and every connection is woven together by God's hand, shaping us for eternity. His experience encourages us to reflect on our own lives, asking how we can share God's love with others, knowing that what we do here carries beyond this life. Perhaps John's story can inspire each of us to trust a little deeper, love a little more, and recognize that even in life's challenges, we are never alone. We are part of God's creation, bound by His love and grace. What does eternity mean to you? Have you ever felt the power of prayer or love in your life? Share your thoughts below, and if John's story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Glimpses into Eternity for more stories that inspire and uplift.